Hey guys, Sengoji here. Shin Godzilla's US release on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital HD from Funimation Films is on the horizon, set for a release date on August 1st with an English dub and everything. I'll put a link in the description below so you guys can feel free to pre-order it if you want. Let's get going. This video will be a continuation / remake of my previous Shin Godzilla Easter eggs video, and let's get going. Shin Godzilla is Toho's most recent installment at the time of this video, and while they're working with Polygon for the Godzilla anime trilogy. The film attempts to tie the series back to its roots, where Godzilla is an icon of nuclear destruction, and it's not without its hidden Easter eggs, fun references to the original series, and all that good stuff. And there will be some pretty heavy spoilers if you have not seen Shin Godzilla, just throwing that out there. This version of Godzilla is an amalgamation of a good number of big disasters Japan has ever faced. The second form being the tsunami and earthquake from 3/11, and his fourth being the Fukushima radiation leak, as well as the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These disasters are also referenced in the various broadcasts that played after the atomic breath scene, when Japan is being flooded and one of the government officials says not again, and when the US gave Japan the option to have them drop a thermonuclear bomb on Tokyo. In parallel with the Fukushima disaster, the film pokes at how slow the state of Japanese bureaucracy was at the time, such as when the military needed tons of confirmation that Godzilla's in their line of fire just so they can shoot him in the head, and how it seems there's a meeting for every time Godzilla does something. Speaking of the military, according to Ed Holland, the Japanese military says that their portrayal in Shin Godzilla is very much like them in real life, such as how helicopters are not allowed to be stationed within 30 meters from the nearest skyscraper. The film pays a lot of tribute to the original Godzilla franchise. The first act takes place on November 3rd, which is the release date of the original Godzilla film from 1954. Another example is how Godzilla retains his roars from 1954, era, and from 1984. Classic Godzilla music from Akira Ifukube plays in some parts of the film and during the credits, including the iconic Godzilla theme song, specifically the one from King Kong vs. Godzilla, as well as Gojira and Ghidorah the three-headed monster. While we're on the topic of music, the rest of Shin Godzilla's score is composed by Shiro Sugisu, who has done the scores for the Berserk Golden Age trilogy, as well as Hideki Anno's Rebuild of Evangelion and Shinichi Higuchi's Attack on Titan. The track Who Will Know is actually from Godzilla's point of view. I'll let the lyrics speak for themselves. Also, Shin Godzilla is very reminiscent to the original 1954 Godzilla as well as Return of Godzilla. They all revolve around the political state of Japan at the time of their release, inspired by events that involve radiation, retain an anti-nuclear message. They even share some of the same moments. All three movies even start with the boat at sea that gets attacked, and end with Godzilla being incapacitated. Shin Godzilla even opens almost the exact same way as the original Godzilla did in 1954. Shin Godzilla also happens to be influenced by Neon Genesis Evangelion, another one of Hideki Anno's most iconic works. This includes recreating many moments, shots, and remixes of Decisive Battle. One of the boats from early in the film is named the Alpha, which was the name of the ship from Latitude Zero, a Toho production from 1969. Shin Godzilla even features a good handful of actors and actresses from Shinichi Higuchi's Attack on Titan. Hiroki Hasegawa played Captain Shikishima, Satomi Ishihara played Hans or Hanji, whichever you prefer to call her, Jun Kunimura as Director Kubal, and so on. It even has special effects director Katsuro Unoue and special effects cinematographer Keiichi Sakurai. There are even actors from previous Godzilla films. Akira Emoto from Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla has a role, as well as the previously mentioned Jun Kunimura from Godzilla Final Wars. There was also Toru Tezuka from Gamera 3 Revenge of Iris. The word Shin in Shin Godzilla has three meanings: true, new, and God. Godzilla, according to an Odo Island legend, means God incarnate. Odo Island being Godzilla's home island in the 1954 classic. This is also the first Japanese Godzilla film to have Godzilla portrayed as a CGI creature. Godzilla is portrayed through motion capture by Mansai Nomura, who wore a Godzilla mask and pulled weight tied to what would be his tail in order to maintain Godzilla's slow movement and to emulate motions similar to that of a rubber suit. Speaking of which, there was an unused Godzilla animatron for the film. According to Shinji Higuchi, the plan was to have the whole film done with miniatures, puppets, and all that good tokusatsu goodness, but Toho decided to do everything in CGI. This is also the first time America has ever launched an attack on Godzilla in Japan, if you don't count the American version of Mothra vs. Godzilla, also known as Godzilla vs. The Thing. The man who discovered Godzilla before he appears is named Goro Maki, which was the name of the main character in Return of Godzilla and Son of Godzilla. The final mission to take down Godzilla in the film is named Operation Yashiroi. Yashiroi is the name of the Saki Susanoo used to put the Hydra to sleep in Japanese mythology, much like how Japan uses the coagulant to freeze Godzilla. And we get to see the trains finally get the revenge on Godzilla for putting them in his mouth. I mean, you kinda gotta stop and think, what exactly does a monster who feeds on radiation gain from putting trains in his mouth? Man, Godzilla's a jerk. Now let's dive deeper into Godzilla himself. A lot of people compared Godzilla's evolutionary stages to Hedorah, but I believe that they're more like Destroyas. They both start off as an aquatic life form that starts to grow, resulting in a more upright form, and it's even possible that Godzilla could grow wings as stated in the film. This version of Godzilla is also capable of asexual reproduction. Godzilla's atomic breath strikingly resembles an oxyacetylene torch. The humanoids at the tip of Godzilla's tail at the end of the film resemble God Warriors or Evangelions without their restraints. There's even a face at the end of Godzilla's tail. Also, Godzilla doesn't have a tongue in this one, in case anyone wanted to know. Godzilla also has gills in this movie, but they're not like his gills from the Showa era, which are just air holes from the suit so Haruo Nakajima could breathe. But they have been confirmed to be gills, which is a nice touch to apply some sort of logic to the suit's design. Traditionally, Godzilla would usually have 3 rows of spines, but since Godzilla was computer generated, Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi decided that Godzilla should have 5 rows of spines for the film. And Godzilla's look for Shin has been confirmed to be a modernization of the 1954 Godzilla design, most notably the keloid scars in the shape of his head. And his second form is based on a frilled shark. As for his origin in the film, he is an unspecified amphibious marine animal related to that of a prehistoric one from the Paleozoic era that mutated by absorbing radiation in the 1950s. Yet fans speculate that in the beginning when Goro Maki is found missing, and because of Evangelion reference and whatnot, he might have fused with the creature, explaining the face at the end of Godzilla's tail, why Godzilla stands in an upright position, and the humanoids at the end of the film.
Here's the big one they always make fun of me. You probably want to throw this in there. 30 years ago, they began creating animal-human hybrids. Isn't that the big story Megyn Kelly should be doing?
Also, here's a little bonus one. Kayako Ann Patterson is played by the actress for the live-action version of Hanji from Attack on Titan, and her English voice actress is the voice of Mikasa in Attack on Titan. In case it wasn't Evangelion enough for you, Trina Nishimura, the English voice actress for Mikasa, also voiced Mari from Hideaki Anno's rebuild of Evangelion. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and do whatever to keep this channel strong. Feel free to comment anything I missed, and I'll see you guys later.